Hi, I'm Sharmen from the Marriage Recovery Center. I wanted to take a few minutes today to talk about boundaries. Boundaries are such a huge issue that we deal with. In any normal relationship, there are unspoken boundaries, but it seems like that when you get into the context of a marriage, especially, or close family members, extended family members, you have to start talking about boundaries because the unspoken ones are being crossed repeatedly, and there's all kinds of toxicity and harm happening in that relationship. So, I want to give you kind of a nutshell version of what a boundary is so that you can look at your own relationships and see how maybe you could better delineate them in a way that it becomes a change agent for your marriage and for the other significant relationships within your marriage. So, the first thing is this: a boundary is not a rule. It's not you telling the other people involved what they can or can't do. Because actually, as soon as you do that, you set up a context for there to be rebellion. So, even you don't like to be told what you must or must not do in terms of a rule where you can and can't go, what you can or can't wear, who you can or cannot be friends with. Those aren't boundaries. Those are rules that you're imposing on another person. Shift that a little bit to where you're saying you can still be that way if you want to be. You can still have those friends if you want to have those friends. You can still talk that way if you want to, but I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. The boundary is you be that way. I'm removing myself from engaging in that because I don't want that to be a part of who I am. That's what a boundary looks like. It's about making your space safe. Who you are, where you live, what you do. It's you taking charge of you and not allowing toxicity and harm to shake that, to move that, to influence that. You just don't engage in it anymore. It invites change because while you've not said you have to do this or not, it's you saying, if you want to be in relationship with me, if you want to have a good connection with me where I trust you and I feel safe with you, then you will need to change these things. It's an invitation to change. And the crossroads in that is it shows you who the other person really is. You know, if you are inviting them to change and they're absolutely adamantly opposed to doing that in order to be in relationship with you, that's a pretty clear sign that they're not interested in being in relationship with you. Most of the time it takes a process to get there, but all that to say, if your eyes are open to letting this be something you use as an agent of change in your marriage, there may come a point where you can see very clearly there isn't going to be change, and so your next step is going to need to be based on that knowledge. It won't be about them changing, it'll be about what can I do to be in a safe space, to turn my home back to a place of peace and safety and refuge from the world. The biggest part of a boundary that makes it effective is that it has to have follow through. It has to have consequences that are meaningful to the other person, or else it's just a wish or a hope or, something you want, but there's no motivation to change in there. So your consequences can be really what a natural consequence would be to that type of behavior. For example, if your spouse is out sleeping around and choosing to be with someone else rather than coming home, a natural consequence of that is the relationship is broken and he doesn't come home. He doesn't come home until he is doing the work to break off those other relationships and choose the marriage and choose to stay home. That's a big one. If it's things like, he's calling you names, being contemptuous towards you, there are natural consequences to that as well. You don't engage in it. You don't have to defend yourself to him or her. You don't have to, try to say again, no, 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 I'm not like that. Even though that's your natural tendency is want to defend yourself. There comes a point where it's more effective to say, you can believe that if you want, but it's ruining our relationship, and I'm not even going to engage in conversation with you. I'm not going to engage in this argument with you if you're going to choose to talk like that, or to talk down to me like that, or to tell me what I'm thinking or feeling or what my motives are. If you want to have a conversation, I want to talk, but it needs to be in a healthy way that's resolving stuff, not just pointing fingers or calling names or whatever it is. That's what a healthy boundary looks like. You walk away, you don't engage, you don't get hooked into that fight, you don't stay in that mess. You are working on getting yourself into a place of safety and peace, leaving your spouse to be the way he wants to be, but you taking control of where you are internally, where you're headed, that kind of idea. That's what a good, healthy boundary looks like. It's not a rule. It's about what you will tolerate for who you are and where you're going. If you would like to talk with us more about how to do that specifically in your own situation, please contact us at the Marriage Recovery Center. We would love to look at what you have going on and help you to be really specific about what it is you need, what it is you want, what line you want to draw in the sand here, and what the consequences should look like. Hopefully to bring your marriage to a place where there is greater depth, greater connection, more love, more trust, building it into the kind of marriage you want, or drawing a clear line in the sand where you see whether or not that could ever happen, and then deciding where to go from there. So contact us at the Marriage Recovery Center. We would love to hear from you.